Welcome, fellow masters. This is FGO Adventures, with a bit of a different video this time around. As you can hear, this is being narrated. Now I do ask that you bear with the audio quality, as my mic setup is fairly bare bones. And also please excuse the sound of my voice, as I've been fighting a cough for the better part of a week and I might sound raspier than I would normally. Amazingly, it's been a year since I started playing FGO, and time has just flown by. I've been wanting to do an account showcase for some time now, and realized that my own personal 1 year anniversary would be the perfect time to do it. So as you can see here, I first acquired MASH on July 5th of last year. So it has been a few days since my official 1 year anniversary. And these are all the servants that I have acquired over the course of a year. There are 50 SSRs and 74 SRs. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to mainly focus on the SSRs because it's going to probably take quite a bit of time to go over them all. So let's get started with the sabers, shall we? And first off, we have Arthur, prototype Altria Pendragon, and he was my very first SSR, and this was through the 3rd anniversary GSSR banner. But when I had rolled on that Saber banner, I very much wanted Musashi and wanted Saber Artoria. I wanted Mordred. I wanted pretty much all the female waifu sabers. Didn't much know about Proto Arthur here, and was very disappointed when I got him. But in the end, he did work out. He did help me through part 1 of the story a lot. So glad I kept him, and I'm glad he's getting some buffs. Here we have Musashi, and as I just mentioned, I really wanted her. That's why I rolled the Saber GSSR banner on the 3rd anniversary. Didn't get her, very disappointed, and was wondering when I'd be able to summon her, because I just absolutely love her design. Now, I rolled for her on the Thanksgiving banner last year. She popped up, and I thought, wow, this is my chance to get her, and was able to get her. Although she wasn't inexpensive, she had cost me roughly 500 quartz, and that was the beginning of my transition from like a relatively casual dolphin into whaling. That banner was actually quite brutal on my wallet, because there were a bunch of servants I really wanted on that banner. And here we have Nero Bride, and she is relatively new. Her banner just came up, and was very happy to get her. I have a gotcha video up, and in that video I was able to MP2 her. But as you can see here, I have her at MP3. And the reason for that is because I got greedy. And I didn't get greedy for Nero Bride. I just wanted a couple more copies of OG Nero to get her to MP5. And I figured, SRs supposedly have a higher rate up. But in the end, I ended up getting a 3rd copy of Nero Bride and only MP4 OG Nero. So that's gotcha for you. But yeah, very happy that I have Nero Bride, especially with her upcoming buff with a 30% battery, and of course the MP generation. She's going to help loopers like Vinci me out quite a bit. Mordred was a spook, and a happy one, because I like Mordred. I like saber faces in general, and she hadn't spooked me for a long time, and you'll see the one SSR Saber that kept spooking me, which I'm happy about. But I absolutely adore Mordred. I really liked her in Fate Apocrypha. She's voiced by one of my favorite voice actresses, Sawashiro Miyuki. And when I eventually get around to leveling her up, and I'm hoping it'll be pretty much Gilfest, where I'll go hard on lotto boxes and save up the embers and use them and get Mordred up and usable. And then next up we have one of my favorite characters. She's probably my all-time favorite, OG Saber. And I was introduced to her way back on the original Fate Stay Night anime, and I fell in love with her character. Female knights, badass, all that good stuff. Now I've been really fortunate with Saber Artoria. She has basically spooked me. All 4 copies have come on non-rate up on whatever banner that I've been rolling on. First copy was during the Fate Zero event rerun, and I was rolling for waiver. I got Saber Artoria popping up there. I actually had a lot of SSR spook me on waiver's banner then, and was very happy about that because that saved me from having to roll on her rate up during that same event. So that was a bit fortuitous. And her most recent copy, the 4th copy, came during the class specific banner, the bait banner, and I had 8 tickets at first, because I think Sabers were the first up on the class specific banner, and just rolled 8 tickets and was very lucky. Saber Artoria came and got our MP4, and I'm really hoping that very soon I can MP5 her. So on to archers. And first off, we have Archer Jeanne, or Summer Jeanne. Now, Archer Jeanne was very kind to me. She came really early on, probably like the second multi I got the first copy, and I think I was also aiming for Assassin Ushi, that was also on rate up on the banner, and so I kept rolling, hoping for Assassin Ushi, and then another copy of Jeanne showed up, and eventually the 3rd copy of Jeanne showed up, and then Ushi showed up. So I ended up with MP3 Jeanne, MP1 Ushi. So it's just one of those things with Gacha again, where the SRs end up being harder to get than the SSRs. So go figure on that one. I do intend to MP5 her. I hope I just didn't jinx myself there, but I am going to roll for 2 more copies of her when the Summer 3 banner comes out. And see if I can get her to MP5. Ishtar. So, Ishtar is one of my favorite servants, and that is wholly due to the Babylonia anime. I thought she was hilarious. I just think her whole useless stick is really funny. She's an archer that I really wanted, and I was a little bit in despair because it seemed like her banners had run its course, and there was no sign of her being on rate up anytime soon. And then this is Thanksgiving. This was the Thanksgiving banner too. So along with Musashi, Ishtar was on that Thanksgiving banner, and I had to roll for her. And like Musashi, she made me pay. She was like, I think 600 quartz or something like that. So between the two of them, I had spent over 1,000 quartz, and I was getting, into deep territory for wallet spending there. But glad I was able to get her. I was going for MP2, but I got MP1, and it cost me a lot, so I decided to stop there. But I will will be going for at least MP2 whenever, her banner comes up again. And then there is Summer Artoria. As you know, Artoria is like my favorite servant, so I definitely had to roll for her. I was very happy that after the Summer 3 event, it was a download campaign and Archer Artoria was on it. She totally eluded me. It was like 850 some odd quartz before I actually got a copy of her. And so I tried one day early on in her banner. I think spent like 400 or 500 quartz. Decided to leave it, and during the Fate Zero event, there was a bit of overlap between the banners. I rolled for waiver, wasn't getting waiver, was getting a ton of spooks, but wasn't getting waiver. Saber Artoria spooked, and I thought, you know what, this is a sign. Switched over to Archer Artoria's banner, and lo and behold, I think it was maybe 2 multis later, she finally showed up. But then I got greedy because I wanted MP2 and spent, a few hundred more quartz and didn't get MP2 and decided to, call it quits on that. But Archer Arjuna has spooked. He was a spook a couple times. I didn't even realize I had MP2. But haven't had a chance to level him yet. Between Archer Jeanne, Ishtar, and this guy next to him, I have AoE archers fairly well covered. At any rate, I was using support Gilgamesh all the time throughout part 1, and I loved his damage. I loved how he could generate stars, and how Elish would basically destroy any servant, even if he didn't have a class advantage. So I was all about Gil. I wanted my own Gilgamesh. He's definitely going to get grailed, and that was that. So what was it? It was, of course, it was Gilfest. Gilfest comes up, had my chance to roll for him. He was good to me. He came. I was going for MP2, and somehow I got 2 copies of him on 1 roll, and it was fairly early on. I think I only spent about 200 quartz on his banner, so that worked out nicely. I am going to go for MP5 for him when Gilfest comes back around, and max him out in that regard. So moving on to Lancers, and as first off we have Bradamante. She was someone that I wasn't really looking to summon. She just showed up. Her first copy just showed up when I was trying to summon for Quetzalcoatl Rider during the Christmas 3 event last year. But I was actually really happy that I was able to get her. I actually got her MP2. She came. I got 2 copies of her. Ketz never showed up, so that kind of sucked because I really wanted her. But fortunately for me, for the event, with Bradamante's damage, event damage bonus, was able to farm pretty efficiently during that lotto, so that helped a lot. Third copy spooked. I can't remember when, but I got a copy at some point. And then Ereshkigal, arguably everyone's favorite dare goddess. So Ereshkigal had a raid up. When was that? That was the Christmas 2 rerun, I believe. And I knew I wanted her. I mean, I do love Ereshkigal. She's a Rin face, and she's an adorable character. I didn't expect to MP3 her. She was very kind to me, unlike her twin, Ishtar. So Ereshkigal was very kind to me. She came fairly early, like within the first 2 or 3 multis, and I don't know why I continued to roll, but I did, and eventually I got MP3 and stopped. So, and that actually didn't cost me very much. I think I got MP3 within 200 quartz, and so I was quite happy about that. Enkidu. Now, I believe he was a spook from when I was rolling for Artoria. And, you know, he was a welcome spook because I did want him. Watching Fate Grand Order of Babylonia anime, definitely wanted to add him to my Chaldea. So I was happy that he showed up then. Hasn't showed up since, and I would very much like to get at least MP2 for him. I tried to roll on his rate up, or shared rate up during the Chaldea Boys back in March, and that's when I got 2 copies of Xiang Yu. That was my first 2 copies of Xiang Yu rolling on Enkidu's rate up day. So that was unfortunate, but at least I have him, and you know, he serves me well. Then we come to Lancer Artoria. Now, she has the record of being the most costly for me. And, I mean, it's partially due to the fact that I rolled for her when she was on a shared rate up with Murasaki Shikibu during the Valentine's event. And I did that because looking at the banners that have come and gone on JP, she doesn't have a rate up on her own for quite a while, and I didn't want to wait that long, so I thought, okay, I'll try for her on Valentine's. I set aside a pretty significant budget for her, knowing that with the shared rate up, I was bound to get a couple copies of Murasaki, and what had happened was I ended up MP5ing Murasaki when my intent was to MP5 Lartoria. But I was able to get MP3. I think all in all, this was a pretty crazy amount. I had intended to stop at 1,500 St. Quartz, but I kept going because, you know, I wasn't getting any copies of Lartoria. I got the 1 copy, and then that was it. And I think I got that 1 copy around 900 or maybe even 1,000 St. Quartz. And so all in all, I think I spent about 2,500 St. Quartz on Lartoria, which combined with MP5 Murasaki. So that was a thing. But I will eventually MP5 her. I'm probably going to try again next Valentine's just to get the last 2 copies. When I YOLO rolled the story, I was, you know, partially hoping Lartoria would show up just to save me some aggravation from rolling the Valentine's shared rate up, but that didn't happen, and hopefully next Valentine's it'll go a little bit better than the first time around. Karna I got as a spook during the waiver banner that I rolled for during the Fate Zero rerun. I got 1 copy of Karna from that banner, and was thankful because I didn't have any SSR Lancers at the time. So, but no, actually I had Enkidu, so I didn't have any AOE SSR Lancers at the time. And so I was grateful for that. He subsequently has spooked a couple more times since then, and hopefully eventually I can get him up to MP5 if he just keeps showing up at this rate. And now on to Riders. So we got, well, Da Vinci Lily is relatively new, actually very new, and I'm grateful that I was able to MP2 her. Reines, she, obviously, I got her during the Case Files event that just, collab event that just passed. I only wanted MP1, and so one copy, I was very satisfied, so it didn't cost me a lot, which is very, very good. But she is great. Her voice actress is also one of my favorites, so it's great to have her. First copy of Achilles had come as a spook when I was rolling for Made Alter. So that kind of hurt, you know. It was an SSR rider. I was like, oh cool, it's Made Alter. Achilles shows up. I'm still happy, or I was still happy at the time, because I was like, I didn't have very many SSRs, so any SSR was basically a welcome. And thankfully he's spooked me 2 more times, and I have him at MP3, so that helps a lot out with his damage. And I was also fortunate that Made Alter did come when I was rolling for her, so got her only at MP1. Again, this was probably, this was during the summer 2 event rerun, and I was a young dolphin, and 1 pack of quartz, 167 quartz pack was all that I wanted to spend. But Made Alter was the one that sort of broke the mold there. I didn't get her in 167 quartz, so I bought another pack, and then I was able to get her on the second multi, on that second pack after that. So eventually, whenever her rate up comes back again, I am going to go for more copies of her. And Ozymandias, he was a spook, a very welcome one, but he's only spooked me once, and that was fairly early on, and I believe that was during the waiver banner. It was early September, and he hasn't come back around since. So whatever the reason, I'm grateful he's come by. I actually don't use him that much, just because I have Made Alter, but it is good to have him. Hopefully he pops up again. Iskandar, I keep wanting to say Alexander, but Iskandar was obviously the GSSR, was acquired during the recent GSSR, and that's it for SSRs on riders. And on to casters. Here we have Murasaki Shikibu. She was my first MP5 SSR. And as I was saying, that was, obviously during the Valentine's event. I was going for MP5 Artoria, who was sharing the banner on that particular day, and I ended up MP5ing Murasaki. Now, that's not to say I'm not happy about that. It was just not quite what I had planned. But, with Castoria coming up next year, Murasaki should, prove quite potent when it comes to dealing with assassins, or mixed assassin berserker nodes and whatnot. So looking forward to that. She's a good servant. I enjoy using her. I think she's fun to use. I like her character. Anastasia, I just have 1 copy. I just have her at MP1. She was a spook, and I'm pretty sure it was again during the waiver banner when I was trying to roll for him. So I actually haven't used her very much at all. Actually, not just because of Murasaki, but because I also have Nero Caster, who is one of my earlier SSRs. So eventually plan to finish off her skills and whatnot. But I have leveled her, and that was during last year's Christmas lotto. I had prioritized Anastasia, and that was mainly because of her 50% battery, where I wanted to take advantage of it. But plans changed. I hadn't even touched it since then. And here is the main reason why I haven't really used Anastasia, is because of Nero Caster. She was my second SSR ever, and she was very good to me. I got her within 100 SQ, and I was using her a lot as a support, from friendless support, and I really liked her. Like the lines that she spouts during battle and whatnot always make me smile or laugh. And her 50% battery was always good to use. So that left a pretty big impression. So when her banner came up, I knew I had to have her. It was Nero too. That was my first chance at a Nero, so couldn't pass that up. I only got one copy during the time, and I got her second copy during this past New Year's, where she was she on that rotating banner. She had a raid up day, so except she wasn't as kind to me during that day, and I think that was like 400 SQ or something like that for that one copy, which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. Yeah, as you can see, I have her almost at Bond 10, so I use her quite a bit. I've started using her less because of Murasaki and Murasaki's ability to loop, so there's that. But one of my fave servants to use, Caster Nero. And then we have Scheherazade, and looking back, yes, she was amongst the SSRs that spooked me during Waver's banner. So I actually hadn't leveled her until very recently, mainly because I had Caster Nero, but it was after the Oku event where I was like, okay, I liked her in the Oku event, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna level her up. And it was during the Hunting Quests campaign that we had all those embers and extra QP, so I leveled her up. So her first copy was during Waver's banner, and at some point I got a second copy. She spooked me, and that's that. Ilya. Now, I obviously got her in the most recent Prisma Code rerun, and I just wanted one copy. I was more than happy with one copy for Ilya, and the reason why I rolled for her was mainly just to complete the whole, Einzbern family. Her, Chloe, Mew, what was that? Irie, and Kiritsugu and Emiya. So yeah, that was my main purpose, was just to bring the whole family together. So was happy I got her. She didn't cost very much. It was like under 100 quartz, so she was quite good to me. Now, Tamamo was a spook during the Thanksgiving banner, so it was one of the servants that I was going for on Thanksgiving. Would have been either Ishtar, Musashi, or MHX. She was a welcome spook because I had planned to roll for her during New Year's anyways, so that saved me the trouble. And it didn't really need higher MP levels of Tamamo, although if she spooks again, I won't complain. Unless, of course, it's at the expense of the rated SSR, and then I might be a little sad. And then there's the man Waver, who had inadvertently just allowed my account to jump up in a number of SSRs. During his banner, I think my SSR count had increased by like 7, because I had like 7 different 5-star servants spook when I was trying to roll for waiver, 1 copy. So waiver ended up being fairly expensive for me. I think it was around 600, maybe even 700 quartz. But I absolutely wanted him because Merlin's banner was nowhere in sight. When I started, I knew nothing about Scotty, so I didn't, even look at her banner. I really regret that now, but that can't be helped. So I really, really, really wanted a good support caster and waiver, with him being able to basically fill up anyone's MP gauge by 50% and team wide by 20%. He's such an awesome support caster. And as you can see here, I'm I'm working on pawn 14, but I use them quite a bit, as I'm sure a lot of people use their waivers. So he's come and spooked a couple more times, so that helps with his MP. The defense down really helps with damage and whatnot. So happy I have him, and he's a workhorse for me. And now on to assassins. Oops. So I actually don't have very many SSR assassins, only 4. Kama was a spur-of-the-moment addition. I had reevaluated my servant targets and thought, okay, you know what, I really can't pass up on Kama. Except I was satisfied with just 1 copy of her, because I knew that she'd be, her event would have a rerun and I'd have an opportunity for a second copy. And the only reason why I didn't go for MP2 or higher is because my targets for the year had pretty much been set, and I was adjusting to account for her so I could have her 1 copy. And now she was very good to me. She came like within 100 quartz, so I was very grateful for that. I didn't have to spend that much, but my budget that I had allocated to her was enough to account for an average of 300 to 400 quartz to get 1 copy of her. But very happy I did, because she is a very good assassin. King Hassan. If you happen to watch my latest gacha video, then you'll know that I was able to obtain him. Obviously, you're looking at him right now, but at a cost that I wasn't truly wanting to spend, north of 500 quartz. But I did allocate that type of budget towards him, and I was successful in the end. So, we can chalk that up as a win. And, I just wanted 1 copy. It's unknown when his next raid up will be, so wanted to basically lock him in and add him to my Chaldea, and happy to do so. Mysterious Heroine X. Now, she is probably either the 2nd or the 3rd most expensive servant I've ever rolled for. I rolled for her on the Thanksgiving banner last year, along with Musashi and Ishtar. And while Musashi and Ishtar were able to be obtained at around 500 quartz each, MHX, her first copy didn't show up till like 900 quartz in. And I did want MP2 for at least MP2 when I was rolling, so another 700 quartz more, and then her second copy showed up, so that was quite brutal. I do intend to MP5 her. She is a Saber face, and I quite like her character. So this coming Saber Wars 2 event, she'll have a raid up in the pre-campaign, and I'm going to roll for those 3 more copies, and let's hope that she is a little bit more kind to me than the last time. Now, Jack has the distinction of being a spook on my first double SSR pull. So I was summoning for Summer BB, and then Jack showed up in the same role where BB had shown up, and I was completely over the moon because I had been using her from the friends support list. So I knew how good she was with generating stars, the crazy fast way she can fill up her own MP gauge, and her niche against females, and how she totally annihilates female riders. So totally happy to have her. She's my first SSR assassin, and I still use her. I'll bring her out whenever there's a female rider, or maybe even sometimes a female berserker, and basically have Jack do her thing. On to berserkers. This guy should need no introduction. Was able to MP to him, thankful for that. Just recently used the special ascension on him because I am saving those egg materials for Space Ishtar. So unfortunately for Arjuna here, he's going to be stuck at skill level 8 for a little bit until I can farm enough mats on their own without risking being able to max out Space Ishtar from the get-go. As you could probably tell that I'm a huge fan of Space Ishtar. So yeah, this Arjuna Altar, that was great, and happy to get him. And then Xiang Yu, had no intention of ever rolling for him. I'm not very particular about his overall design and whatnot, but he's spooked me, and he spooked me 3 times. So at least my Concert Yu is happy about that. I will level him. I'm not the type to burn any servant that I had no plan on rolling for, or I don't particularly want. I'll keep pretty much everyone. I like to collect. So add Xiang Yu, and then there's Echen. So there is a pretty interesting story about MHXA, about Echen here. Obviously Saberface, pretty big on my priority list. I planned to roll for her when her banner came out in March this past year, or this past March rather, and I got her on the New Year's GSSR, so I was really happy about that, since she was one of my top tier choices. And then I decided to go to MP5 her during her banner, when that banner came around. So I only needed 4 copies, and I really regret not recording this. This is the time when I kept forgetting to record my rolls, prior to when I really started to regularly post things on YouTube. And this is probably the most lucky I've ever been. So the first multi, I got 2 copies of her right away. And then over the course of the next 3 or 4 multis, I got 2 more copies of her, plus an Achilles spook. So, within 210 quarts, I actually ended up getting 5 SSRs, which was unheard of for me. And man, I really regret not recording it. But I guess you guys will just have to take my word for it. This was basically just the gacha averaging out for me, with all the Thanksgiving banner being really expensive for me, with Lartoria killing me on the Valentine's banner. Basically the gacha gods were, we'll give you a break on Mysterious Heroine X. Very thankful for that because I use her quite a bit. And I like to showcase her in my vids. So happy, and I'm looking forward to Saber Wars 2 and that storyline there. Raiko, hadn't planned on rolling for her, not because I didn't want to, but her banner just came out of the blue last year, or at least I don't think there was a Japanese equivalent, so I wasn't expecting it. But I was thankful when it did pop up, which gave me an opportunity to roll for her and obtain her. I didn't have a lot of budget at the time allocated for surprise banners like that, so I could only afford like one pack. She was kind to me. She came within 150 SQ, and I was happy with MP1. In retrospect, with the amount that I spend now, I wish I had gone for a higher MP level, but whenever her banner comes back around, I'll increase that to at least MP2, and then go from there. But yeah, she's been good to me, and has really helped out. Nightingale, it's just been a recent spook, and I'm happy about that because she eluded me for a while, and was wondering when is she going to show up, and she eventually did, very within the last couple of months. And she's voiced by Sawashiro Miyuki, one of my favorite voice actresses, so really happy about that. Haven't had a chance to level her yet, but definitely will with the lotto events. Now Vlad came as a spook. His first copy came as a spook in January on one of the New Year's campaign banners that I was rolling. I think it was Jalter. So I'm happy to have him, and he's come 2 more times since then. When Castoria comes around, then he's going to be quite the force to reckon with. So definitely have him leveled by then. Again, just waiting for the lotto events that'll be coming up, Gilfest and the Christmas lotto, and hopefully get him leveled up and skilled up at that point in time, so I can use him. And finally, we come to the extra classes. And first up, we have Mothman, whom I wasn't really planning to roll for him. He was on the banner for Concert U. I rolled for Concert U, and I was counting on the SR rate ups and expecting that Concert U would show up before Mothman would, and that didn't turn out to be the case. In fact, Mothman came relatively early, within 150 quarts. However, Concert U refused to show, and it actually took me, I think, another 200 quarts after that before she finally showed up. So that's how I got him. I haven't had a chance to really use him. I do plan to, but he is leveled up, although I still need to give him some silver foes at the very least. Ruler Jeanne, OG Jeanne. She's someone that I wanted when I first started playing the game. I watched Fate Apocrypha, liked her in Fate Apocrypha. She's a saber face, so it was one of those things. Wanted to roll for her, except she didn't have any rate ups. Fortunately, though, she spooked me. Her first copy spooked me during Waver's banner during the Fate Zero event. She was one of the 7 SSRs that came to me when I was rolling for Waver, so was very grateful about that. And she's since spooked me 3 more times, and then the 5th copy came during that extra class banner that I rolled, where both her and Sitanai had shown up on one roll. So that was quite memorable, and it was a good way to top her off at MP5, so very happy about that. Now we have Jalter. Now when I first started playing FGO, I immediately noticed that all the people on the friend support list had, well, the majority of them had Jalter at level 100, or at least that was the perception that I had. And when I used her, she left a very big impression on me with, with how hard she hit, and especially when she crit was quite amazing at the time to me. So I really wanted my own Jalter, because I found myself using her whenever I had to go up against a particularly difficult boss. So the first opportunity I had to roll for her was in New Year's, and I was attempting to MP5 her in one shot. Unfortunately, she didn't quite cooperate, and in the first copy, I think, didn't show up till like around the 600 or 700 sync warp mark, and her subsequent second and third copy came, and I stopped at 1500 sync quartz, because that was it. That was the budget I had set, thinking that would be enough to MP5. I know it's possible to MP5 for much less than that, as I was telling you the anecdote of how I MP5 at Jeanne, but it just didn't work out for me this time. Fortunately, I knew that she had another banner later on in the year, which I did roll for her 4th and 5th copy, so I was able to complete her there. And I have her grailed and max gold foed. Edmond Dantes. Now he's someone that's that I got, and I really had no intention of getting him. I rolled on the Summer 3 banner with the guys, with Dantes and Castor Gil. My target was Castor Gil, and I just wanted one copy of Castor Gil. But as you know, sometimes gacha just does weird things, and I got Dantes first. In fact, I got Dantes twice before I actually got Castor Gil, and then when I got Castor Gil, I stopped. But I was able to get Dantes. I didn't know much about him at the time. The only Avenger that I had my eye on, or that I really wanted, was Jalter, and of course at the time I didn't know anything about the Scotty system, or what that was, or how beneficial it was, and so on and so forth. So I actually, I used him enough to get him to bottom 5, but I don't really use him that often. And his skills I've neglected his skills, and that's simply just because I'm prioritizing the materials for other servants first, based on my needs. So I will get his skills up, especially when I get my own Scotty, hopefully when her banner comes up, I believe November. But yeah, MP2 Edmond Dantes. King Protea. I just rolled one copy for her, or I rolled for one copy for her during the just this recent CCC rerun, and she was very, very kind to me. I got her within 90 sane quartz, so I was happy about that. Haven't had a chance to level her yet, especially since I have 2 other AoE alter egos leveled up. So unfortunately, King Protea is level 1 for the time being. Sitanai. Now, she was basically a pleasant surprise as well. During the Oniland event last year, I was basically just rolling for the event craft essences, and I think I only used like 90 sane quartz, but within that 90 sane quartz, one copy of her came, and I was quite happy about that. And then if you watch my gacha video on the extra class banner, that was MP2 Sitanai. And I like using her. She's fun. Okita Altar. So Okitan was someone obviously that I targeted because Saberface, and I really like her character. She's just fun. She was not kind to me. She was very expensive. She was in the realm of 600 to 700 Saint Quartz before her one copy came up, and I was hoping to get MP2 when I was rolling for her. Fortunately, she'll have another banner next year. I think during the it's during the Maonobu rerun, the Guda Guda 4 rerun. So gonna be rolling for at least MP2 for her there. Kiara I had rolled during the Oku event with Kama, and while Kama was kind to me in not costing me very many Saint Quartz, Kiara was a completely different story, and she was one that I actually wanted multiple copies of. So she wasn't too expensive relative to the others like Lartoria or MHX, but she did. I think the 2 copies was around 800 quartz, and that was a little bit unfortunate considering Kama came really early, and I guess the gacha was just averaging out for me. I do intend to eventually MP5 her, so she'll be back on Right Up, I believe, next year during the Oku rerun, and hopefully she'll be a bit easier on my wallet that time around. Melt's interesting because I really didn't plan on rolling for her, mainly because I had Sitanai already and she was all leveled up. But what had happened was during the CCC event, I really liked her character, and that basically just changed my mind, and I decided, okay, I'm going to roll for her. So that was a little bit outside of what I had planned and for a budget. However, 2 copies of her came relatively easily, and within 300 quartz, I got her at MP2. So that worked out. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to use her, mainly whenever there's a challenge quest or a boss fight or something like that is when I'll bring her out. Obviously if it's against any of the cavalry classes and whatnot. And I look forward to actually getting her summer version soon when Summer 4 comes. Jinako. If any of you have seen my Lost Belt 4 gacha video, then you'll know that I was able to get a copy of her there, and she was relatively inexpensive. I think it was within 90 quartz for her first copy. The second copy was a spook, and that was relatively recently. I think that was I actually can't remember. It was either Nobu or Nero Bride, but I haven't leveled her yet. Not really a need for a Moon Cancer when I have Summer BB all leveled up. But yeah, I will get around to that. Summer BB. She was basically like Archer Jeanne, where I was rolling on her banner mainly for Mysterious Heroine XX, thinking that the SR would come way before any SSR would show up. But in fact, it was the opposite. And so I got MP2, 2 copies of Summer BB in like 300 Saint Quartz, and then I stopped. and waited for another day when MHXX was on solo right up for the SR. And then that's when I rolled. And then I got a third copy before MHX actually showed up. And that was actually the time also when that third copy was the double SSR pull with Jack. So it all in all worked out. But I ended up with MP3 Summer VB and only MP1 MHXX, so go figure. And lastly, for SSRs is Hokusai, and she was one of my targets for the New Year's campaign as well, along with Jalter. Was able to get 2 copies of her in about 700 quartz, and I really wanted at least MP2. And I thought, that would be it. If her banner comes up again, I might roll for additional copies, but right now I don't feel any need. I'm happy with MP2. I'm just happy all around that I have Hokusai, because I have been using her up to that point from friend support lists, and absolutely love her MP. Her MP visual is just amazing to me. So and she's super cute, and glad she's part of my Chaldea. And those are my 50 SSRs. And while I'd like to go through each of my SRs, there really just isn't enough time for that, and this video is already much longer than I would have liked. But suffice it to say, I have pretty much all the SRs that are available, the non-limited SRs that are available, and Beowulf was pretty much the last one that I was missing, and he's just recently joined my Chaldea from the Versus Han banner. And as far as Storylock servants that I'm missing, I believe I still need Gawain, I still need Emiya Alter, Lancer Artoria Alter, Danzo, and I think that's it off the top of my head. There are obviously a lot of SRs, limited SRs that I'm still missing, especially ones from past summer events, or even just past events in general. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for my servants. For craft essences, just to quickly hit the highlights, I have a couple of copies of MLB copies of Fragment 2030, 2 copies of the Black Rail that are MLB'd, and I have 1 Kaleidoscope that's MLB'd, and 3 individual copies. So just need 2 more, and I'll be able to have 2 MLB K-scopes, which I'm hoping that'll happen. But even just having 1 MLB K-scope is already proven to be a huge boon. And that wraps up my account overview, or rather my SSR overview, for my personal 1-year anniversary of playing FGO. I had envisioned a more comprehensive showcase of my account that would have included the SRs, but commentary on 74 more servants would have made this video far longer, and it's already fairly long as it is. So I thank you for sticking with me to this point. Please leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think 50 SSRs in a year is a lot? And if you do so, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And we'll see you in the next one.